Basketball not taking Caitlin Clark to the Olympics. Now let's start by showing her game last night. Monica, come in here. Caitlin Clark and the Fevers visiting the Sun, the Connecticut Sun, one of the best teams in the WNBA. There's Caitlin knocking down a three early. It would be a tough night for her. She wanted a call there, then she's going to get one here, and Dejanay Carrington is not going to like the way she sells it.
You know, Carrington's a terrific defender. Clark is a terrific offensive player. They're never going to necessarily agree.
Meanwhile, final seconds of the quarter. This is an 18-point game. Clark is getting pressured. She turns it over. Carrington goes the other way. Connecticut up by 20 at the half. Early in the third. This is just a terrible sequence from Indiana. First, Alyssa Thomas is going to score the bucket. Now just watch this here. That's just not what we drew up. And so now it's a 24-point game. And then 6 minutes left in the third. Caitlin Clark, not exactly sure what happens here. That one is just well short.
I'm just going to stop you. This is a bad team versus a team that's in a position to contend for a title again in the WNBA.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was
Period.
Last night, and that's what it looked like. And so Caitlin Clark winds up not playing in the entire fourth quarter. 10 points, 22 minutes for her. That in the midst of this time where USA Basketball will officially announce today its roster for the women's team that will be in Paris next month. It is a roster that by now we know is not going to include Caitlin Clark. And opinions on that, as you would imagine, have been loud and everywhere. You'll hear now from our friends Stephen A. and Michael Wilbon.
You just highlighted 7 straight gold medals. Oh, my God. We're really worried that they're not going to get an 8th. Oh, we really worried. I mean, we got to make sure that spots 1 through 12, every single spot that is picked. I mean, it's got to be, because it's pivotal, Shannon. I don't know if you noticed, Shannon, it's pivotal. I mean, they won 7 straight. They might not get 8. They might not get 8. Stop it. You know good and damn well, with or without Caitlin Clark, they're going to probably win the gold again. That's not what this conversation is about. This is about what I will personally label the idiocy of Team USA women's basketball. How dare you make this decision? It's stupid. It compromises what your ultimate goal is, which is to elevate the WNBA brand. How could you be that idiotic and not make that call when throughout history, Team USA has been in part about marketing? It's dumb. Period.
She doesn't belong on the Olympic team. She hasn't deserved to be on the Olympic team. She's not as good as 20 American women who can be on that team, probably 25. And I'm tired of people, including my dear friends Christine Brennan and Stephen A. Smith, saying, well, she can grow the game. The point is not to grow the game. The point is to win the games.
All right, so those are about 180-degree opposite opinions from two people who know what they're talking about, right, and happen to be very, very good friends. So Legler is here, but Monica, you're the first person I come to on this. It is a simple question. I'm sure the answer isn't as simple. Was it the right decision not to put Caitlin Clark on the Olympic team?
I'm okay with it. I think it was fine. But I will say, of all of the conversations around Caitlin Clark, this was probably the first where I'm like, all right, I can legitimately see both sides. And it's very simple. Is your goal a marketing opportunity, or is your goal acknowledging the merit and the opportunity of a lifetime for whoever you deem to be player 10, 11, 12 on this roster to achieve a goal that they have also worked incredibly hard for? I understand the passion that has been provoked in this one, but when you look at Team USA, as women's basketball, they've had a following internationally. Is there an opportunity to make it bigger? Sure. Would it exceed the numbers we saw in 1996 that led to the birth of the WNBA? I'm not sure. That viewership was in the 20 mil range as well. So this, to me, you defer to Caitlin, who has said it's the most difficult team to make. It's a goal of mine eventually. She's okay. And so I do not think that this was a missed opportunity. There have been bigger misses as far as Team USA women's basketball is concerned in terms of players that actually had the talent and had the merit and earned a right to be on those teams. I don't think that this one is a big deal. She's going to have plenty of opportunity to be on the Olympic team.
I think you have identified the question here. The question is, how much should this be about trying to grow the game versus putting the most deserving players on? And I will say, the WNBA is pausing its season for an Olympic break. Why are they doing that? They're doing it for the visibility, right? They're doing it for the increased eyeballs. So to that degree, that part of it would make sense to me if you chose to do it that way.
Correct. And to add to that, they don't really have a choice. Like, this roster as currently constructed is basically the Aces and Friends. So the Aces have 4 players
Right.
that are.
Well, the point is they could just choose not to allow their players to go, and they're not, and that would make no sense.
Right.
So they're doing. The other is as one who remembers and covered the Dream Team in 1992. That changed the world as we know it. We saw what came from that. That came from the reason, I think, a big part of the reason why the game is as global and international as it is now is because of the popularity of those guys. Michael Jordan didn't want any part of going, and they wouldn't let him not go. So there is a history, is what I'm trying to say, of this not being done, not that he wasn't deserving of being on the team, but of there being other reasons why players are chosen for this. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that history exists.
Real quick, Legs, before you jump in on that, though, to a degree, though, the problem that the NBA and Michael Jordan and company were tasked with in 1992 is not an issue when you talk to women about women's game. The WNBA is a summer season here in the States. These women go overseas.
Right.
Like, there's already a global component
Right.
that exists around women's basketball if you cover the sport.
You can grow it here, though, is the point. And it is growing. I mean, it's growing exponentially. Legs, jump in.
Yeah, the 92 team was coming off the embarrassment of 88, right? And they was like, you know what? Okay, enough's enough. Here's what happens when we drop the hammer. We're going to send our best now. And Barkley had the greatest quote ever. I don't know much about Angola, but Angola's in trouble, right? That's basically what he said going into that tournament.
Right.
So listen, here's my point on this. And I'm glad you started out what you said by saying I see a little bit of merit on both sides of the argument, because I'm in there as well. From a player's perspective, I totally get players in the WNBA that have established themselves, that have earned that spot. And it's 100%. Such an honor to be on the team. I get them being upset if they were to give the spot to Caitlin Clark when she's not, on the merits of her play so far as a WNBA player, deserving of the spot. However, I do agree with what Stephen A. said in this regard. Yeah, it is about growing the brand of the WNBA still. And this is a tremendous opportunity to do that. You are not going to have a player, right, that is more electrifying in terms of eyeballs wanting to watch someone play basketball in the women's game right now than Caitlin Clark. Take advantage of it, because ultimately, eyeballs, viewership, attention, all of that leads to better things for the entire league. And that's really what the goal should be, because you're not going to be threatened. They're going to win a gold medal. This spot, that last spot, whoever that gets, that person is not going to determine whether to win a gold medal or not.
That person also probably isn't going to play a lot, and that could have factored into this as well. I have to leave this here for the moment. I'm up against the